That is one big pilot.
Right, so what have we got here then, Mike?
Well, welcome back, everybody. My
Hello.
garage is now full of
Crap.
lots of small blocks, and I don't know what I'm going to do with them all just yet. Let me bring you in, and we'll start going over what showed up.
Ladies and gentlemen, Exhibit A.
Gentleman contacted me via Facebook group over here in England. Heard I rebuild engines, small block Fords, so he wanted to bring this 302 around and see what I thought about it and if I'd rebuild it for him. So 2 weeks ago, he brings it around and he has it on a run stand, because I guess he bought this engine and this engine off the same gentleman for 2,500 pounds.
Bargain.
So yeah, so complete engines.
It's close to 3,000 US.
Yeah, and so he brought this one to me first because he wanted me to build a nice engine for his 68 Mustang Coupe. Because the engine that's in there now, I guess, isn't very inspiring, but he had a bunch of stuff and he wanted to build something nice. So brought this over, and I guess whoever he bought it from had it on an actual homemade run stand. So you're like, okay, you can come and you listen to it run before you take it apart. And I was like, well, I don't really need to hear it running if I'm going to take it apart anyway. So you're just kind of, he drove 2 hours to get here, kind of like wasting time a little bit in my mind if everything's going to come apart. So we just decided to take the engine off the stand, bring it into the garage, get it on an engine stand, and so we can take some bits apart and see what we got as far as like, what's the overbore size like? Does it look like somebody put a grenade inside it and set it off? And we'll take it apart a little bit.
Yes, it does.
And we'll see what we got. So I started taking things apart, and the world started closing in. Where do I start on this thing?
Right there at the top.
So it had one of the Chinese aluminum intakes on it, which we're going to reuse on this engine. We'll get to that later. Yep. It had in it a brand new melling camshaft and lifter set. So I was like, well, we're not going to reuse that because there wasn't a single marking on it. So I determined what that was later by running the numbers and looking around on the internet to try to find what it was. So it had standard bore, which was good. Pulled the oil pan off, and I'll clip in a video right here of what I found on the bottom of the oil pan.
It's not good.
So you bash the heck out of the oil pump pickup. It's not even level with the pan, what it would have been, but there's loads of sludge in here. That would have been very nice firing it up with that, but so pulling bits apart, and where should I start? Let's start at the heads. Let's zip over there.
These look good initially, and then everything goes to hell.
So here on this engine was a set of the 4-bar GT40P heads. So first glance, we thought, all right, cool. He's got something we could work with here, make a decent engine. And then I started looking a little deeper. If you can get a little closer glimpse of this valve train, the spring package. And first thing I noticed, run a ruler across the top, the exhaust valves and the intake valves are very far off from being at the same height. So that was a big red flag to start with. Also the fact that in even way it is, he had lash caps on the intake valves to even try to bring them up to close to what the exhaust valves were. So with the lash caps off, it is even way worse. So like, what the heck's going on with these heads? So started taking things apart, took the springs off. It's got screw-in rocker studs, which it doesn't have the bolt-down standard Ford rocker arms anymore. He had like comp roller tip rockers. So because in order to run those, he had to run guide plates. So on this head here is a part. The way he executed this was with shortening the rocker studs because he didn't want to drill any deeper into the head for the threads that he upsized these to. So
No bueno.
So now you only have, instead of this many threads, he cut like 2-3 threads off it to make it work. And then to make it worse, I mean, this isn't the same type of guide plate, but then he also had to go through a guide plate. So now you have maybe 5 threads to work with. What do we got here? 5 threads to work with in order to tighten this up to like 40-45 foot-pounds to make it work. Well, then you get stuff like this. When you pull it apart, and the threads are stripped out and stuck to the stud. So this thing would have lasted like 5 minutes, maybe if that. Wouldn't have handled any RPM before it let itself loose. So looking deeper, the valves caught my eye, and the intake especially. So GT40P heads should have a 184 intake valve. Well, this is a 194 intake valve. And somebody went in here, I know it's all black and carboned up and you can't really see much, but they spent some time porting this thing out and cleaning up the chambers and stuff like that. And
Definitely put some hours in it.
yeah, put some time into it. So I guess he wanted a larger valve or something, so that's what he went out and got. These actually have Ford part numbers on them. Ford it's A302 valves. So I think these are an old Ford Motorsport or SVO aftermarket valve, so I don't know where he got them. But they are not even close to being the right height. And even that said, the spring retainer grooves or the keeper locks aren't even in near the right positions to each other. So with these valves installed, the intake valves are here, so they stick up higher than the exhausts. So they're controlling the heavier valve, but they're installed at 1.9 inches. And with the springs that's on these things, they only have 40 pounds of pressure holding the valve closed. And then the exhaust valves only have 70 pounds of pressure. So this thing, if it, there's nothing that was ever going to be good with this.
No,
it was either going to float the living garbage out of the valves or rip the studs out of the head.
Yep.
So because he threaded it more, you can't go back and put the regular stamp steel rockers in it, unless you really rebuild this, which isn't financially valuable. If you wanted to put the right valves in the head, that would work, because now you can't go back to the regular size valves. So you got to stick to the 194 or bigger. These valves are $40 a piece, so it's over $300 to replace the valves, the intake valves, to try to make it work. But then it still wouldn't work because the rocker studs are crap.
At this point, you might as well just buy these.
Yeah. So
that's what you do.
There's no financial way that these heads would have come around to be practical to put back together. So these are, for a better part of the word, just scrap.
They are boat anchors.
Paperweights.
I mean, you could save the valves for a rainy day, for something, I don't know.
In England?
Yeah.
No, it never rains here.
Wait.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's going to be nice all week. It's supposed to be.
Oh, we got 1 week.
So, man, there's nothing. I mean, we're going to take, because they got the two-piece comp guide plates here, we're going to take these out and repurpose them in the Vevor heads. And that's about it.
Yeah.
There's nothing else I can do with these.
These are going in the North Sea.
So maybe they'll turn them into a Skoda or something like that over here.
English Channel.
So this was a very big disappointment. But there's nothing we can do about it. Everything's garbage in it. This is what happens when somebody gets an idea in their head and they just keep running and they don't know what they're doing. And then this was just a disaster waiting to happen. So that's the story on the heads of a big pile of garbage. So let me swing you back over to the block and discuss more abominations. So I started taking pistons out, and immediately I noticed something was weird, because instead of going by the number convention 1 through 8 that Ford usually stamps into their rods, these were like rods from different motors. So they started notching the caps and the rods themselves to keep them organized. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
11.
So this had 8 ticks on it. Bearings kind of scuzzed up from dirt. As I was pulling it apart, pulling cylinder pistons number 1, number 2, and number 4 all had broken piston rings. So he came back the other week, took a lot of it home, but I just kept a couple of the pieces. So whoever had this apart, I think at the time that they put the new cam in it and lifters, had this out and tried to get the pistons back in, breaking the living garbage out of them, because they haven't been run very long at all, because they're not all smooshed together. But 3 pistons worth of broken rings come apart. You can see all the scratches and all the scuffs on these pistons. And looking into the bores, I know you can't really see it on camera, but it looks like somebody took a piece of sandpaper on their hand and went in here and just scuffed up the bores, hoping that the rings, or hoping that it would help the rings out when it all went back together. So, yeah, it's standard bore, severely worn. I have to take this to the machine shop to have them bore it first before we order the pistons, because I'm hoping it's going to clear up at 30 thousandths. So I don't want to order parts from the States and have them show up and then the pistons not even be right after, you know, they get to the machine shop. Because just zipping them back over here isn't an option. So when I was taking these rods off and apart, you just get the little 1/8 inch impact driver and you just zip them off because you're only like 24 foot-pounds of torque. So one of these things was not like the other. So this is the rod that was not like the other. And this one had ARP rod bolts in it. So when my buddy came by, he brought all the rest of the parts that he got in his lot. And there was this ARP rod bolt card with one set of bolts missing, which are in here in the piston. And this was included with it, an old one. Because when I was taking this off with the impact, it was tight the whole way off the nut or off the bolt. And that usually happens when the threads are pulled, because I think every single one of these rod bolts was severely over tightened. So, and obviously he tightened it, one of them stretched and possibly broke, which is why he replaced it. Guarantee he didn't resize the rod, so, and just tried to send it on down the road. So another indication of, I don't know, what derogatory name should we give a British person that starts working with
Hey, it's
with
not
these
you.
engines.
You're not the person. You're just British. You're not that
This
guy.
wasn't the owner.
Yeah.
This was whoever he, whoever he bought it from.
250 years ago, we had a war against each other.
Yeah. So pistons were out. Everything about them was garbage. Then we get to the crank. So I took the main caps off, got the harmonic bouncer off, you know, or before that, took the crank out, started looking at the bearings.
I love this.
So the crank was cut 2020 already, and the bearings that came out
Which one you want?
are just,
Some of them are worse, much worse.
yeah,
than
because of the oil pan and all the dirt in the oil. I mean, these are just smoked.
others. Totally scored.
Scored.
That one.
And then we get to number 3,
There we go.
and there's huge scratches. I mean, my finger gets lost in the in
He's
that.
got big fingers.
Yeah.
He does. Those are Sasquatch
Yeah,
fingers.
Sasquatch.
So absolutely smoked crank bearings.
And then you have the cam
And,
cam bearing.
Yeah, the cam bearing has, you know, big chunks of the lining missing out of it.
I mean, that's not that bad. I mean, we like
we
to
can
screw them up and rip
Oh,
them
you
out,
like to
don't
take
we?
them completely out.
Oh yeah, your engine did it once. Ooh, it consumed one pretty
I'd
good.
reuse that.
Yeah.
So-
it kind of did its own shimming.
And the piece de resistance was I had the crank on the ground, harmonic balancer there, and I'm looking at the crank. I'm like, that looks awfully like a Bucks Buddy Mustang crankshaft, because I know what a 50-ounce crank looks like, because it's got that one little center nub thing. I'll probably put a picture up here, what I'm talking about.
Yeah, put a picture up.
Yeah.
I don't know the difference.
And added a 50-ounce balancer, because that balancer part number checked out. But I know when we took the engine off the run stand, it had a big 164 tooth flywheel on it from an early Ford application,
Which does not match.
which is 28 ounce.
That's right.
So he said he ran it on the stand briefly, but it was blowing smoke all out of the breathers. But I asked him how smooth it ran, because that thing must have been shaking all over the place, because you had 50-ounce internals. Obviously is where he got the crank and stuff from wherever the engine he got the GT40P heads from. But then he had a 28-ounce balanced flywheel on it.
It was bouncing like a top fueler at the staging beam
So, man, this engine
or something.
was just doomed. It was never, I mean, the time you would have wasted to put it in a car would just, you just shoot yourself how bad it would have been, how fast it would have gone bad, and how wrong it would have gone bad. So, thankfully, we brought it over here, but sadly, there's nothing we really can use out of it. So,
The block, maybe.
yeah.
Maybe.
If it cleans up at the machine shop, they give it the, you know, the thumbs up. We're going to order ourselves a 347 stroker kit for this cast crank, I think from FordStrokers.com, because they were really good on the last one I did, and we got to get it shipped in. He wants a set of AFR 185 Renegade heads.
Well, I know somebody who's got a set that with a good cam that really ran well. So.
Yeah, but you're keeping that.
Yeah. Yes, I'm keeping that.
So we're going to build kind of a copy here. He's going to go roller cam. A lot of money, but it's going to be a good motor when he's done. So as long as the block checks out, but there's no cracks in it, I can tell. I'm just a little concerned with the
core shift.
The core shift.
That was the first thing I saw when I looked at it.
So you can kind of see how thin it is here and how thick it is here.
And you can offset the bore when you cut it, but you still have to take enough material to make.
And this one isn't as bad. This bank isn't as bad. I'm just concerned about these three, so they may have to offset bore just a little bit. We'll see what the shop can do, what we can make happen. So
that's that too.
With that said, then just last weekend he brought me over the other engine in his lot that he purchased. So this was a 289. So we took the oil pan, front end of the motor of this off, and the heads off, and this looks pretty nice. So this is a 68, or looks like 67 D4. April 4th, 1967. So 289. So one of the last 289s before they switched over to 302s. Looking at the bottom end, everything looks fresh. I see mains 70 pounds stamped into the deck. And that's something I've never seen over here in England. And I'm wondering if this was purchased in the States and machined in the States. Because it looks, that's what they stamp in it when they line bore hone it. So that's good news. The bearings look new. It's been balanced. You can see where they actually welded in heavy metal.
Heavy metal, and then the cut on
proper way.
And then the cuts on
the bevels on
the end of the rods.
Yeah. So these rods aren't original 289. I'm thinking, looking at this, I'm thinking this is a 302 crank. It's got to be a 302 crank in a 289 block. I'll just have to measure the stroke in a bit because these are 71 connecting rods, D1 rods. So, but that's not detrimental to anything. It is 60 thousandths over already. Nice looking crosshatch and hone on the cylinders. This thing is going to get that small little milling cam. I'm redoing the heads on it now because they're not, the valve job isn't the best. But we're going to get this engine together first as a good, nice little 289 runner and try to make some money to cycle back into the 302, 347 that we're building for them. But that is the state of what's all going on. So
this will be a good little motor.
Yeah.
It'll be not bad at all.
So, I mean, that milling cam isn't stock. It's got a little bit of, that is the same cam that Summit Racing has in their catalog as, well, I think they're stage 2 or something. The same exact numbers, except they charge like $3 or $4 more for it and put it in their box.
Mm-hmm. Put their name on it.
We're going to get new lifters for this one because, yes, the cam was barely run on the stand when he had it, but from how much garbage was in the oil pan, I don't trust that garbage didn't get into the lifters. So we're going to put that cam in, which looks like it was barely run, and we're going to put some new lifters on it and put it in here. And since it's not going to have much lift at all, so I'm not worried about it not breaking in correctly. But he's got bits and pieces. There's the Chinese intake manifold. It's going to go on it. Oil pan. I mean, he gave me gaskets for it.
There's the windage tray too.
Yeah, he had this little Soul Racing windage tray to go in there, but looks like it was with line bore hone. I don't want to take the rod bolts, the main bolts off, just to get rid of the windage tray. So you can see these main bolts have holes in it. So it can go like so.
But the scoop is that way, so it would be pulling. It should be rotating.
I think it should be this.
Is it rotating that way?
Yeah, clockwise.
And slinging it that
at the
way?
front. Well, it's scraping it off and pulling it out this way. Because I was thinking of running the windage tray on a 347, and he was receptive to that idea. But then I was thinking to myself, I was like, wait a minute, I don't think that the crank throws are going to clear this with the bigger crank. So it's just whatever. This isn't like a horsepower piece, but it'll just stay in here because I just don't want to mess with anything. I still like to pull these rod bolts off, check the bearings, see what size the crank is, make sure they're all torqued right. I'll get my good snap-on torque wrench on it and make sure everything's good to go here. But this is not a signature of the guy that built this. Yeah, but that's what I've been doing for the past few weeks, guys. Just getting stuff. I mean, this block was filthy. So, spent an afternoon outside in the driveway cleaning it with oven cleaner and pressure washer, going over the heads, kind of reviewing things, going with options for the owner, or which direction we're going to go, what makes the most sense. This is going to go to the machine shop to get bored, just to make sure that it's going to clean up a 30 thou, so we don't order pistons all the way from the States and it not turn out right. So that can go, because it's going to take a while to get the stroker kit here. But in the meantime, I can work on this engine, getting it together, hopefully get it running even before the stroker kit shows up, because most of the parts are here. I did make an order through Summit, a bunch of stuff coming for this, and I'll keep making content and show you what's going on with it. So.
And maybe we'll see my car in the next year.
Yeah.
Apparently, making headers for it's really difficult. Yes.
Showing up for work is difficult, I guess. Yeah, John's in the. No, you can talk about it.
I really just am irritated.
How many weeks has it been in the exhaust shop?
It's been 7 weeks that it's been at the exhaust shop.
And
he made, I think, the collectors for one side. At least that's the only thing I've looked and seen. And it's just one thing after another. Oh, I've got this going on, but yet there's cars coming in and out of the shop getting done every single day. So I'm starting to get a little bit pissed off. And
Lee.
we can't say. I think we can say pissed, pissed. Pissed.
So
Probably not. Beep beep beep.
we had high hopes that it would be done quickly and nice.
Yep.
Even though if it wasn't too cheap, but we'll see what the big trifecta comes out in the end. Definitely is not quick, so we can take that one off the list. But we don't know what the quality is, and we don't know the price yet.
Nope. But the weather's getting nice over here, and I'm not driving that car right now.
Yeah.
So
We still got a fair amount of work to
Get
do.
mine out the garage.
that too.
Yeah.
But yes, we still have a little bit of. In fact, valve covers are should be in a few days. We should see the valve covers.
Surgery on the blue car.
We always talk about his car.
Well, I did.
Yeah, he talked over me when I said I was going to get mine out.
I tried to throw that bone out there too.
He's been here for weeks, and all he's done is put stainless steel.
Well, they finally came in today. It's only been like 2 months almost.
Yeah, he says
2
that.
months.
I'm monkeying back and forth.
That's because he's been messing with these broken 302s and 289s.
Well, I got John's sway bar, and
He hasn't paid me for it yet.
We doctored that as well.
yeah.
Cut up a beautiful sway bar.
Well,
I haven't seen it.
I had to make it narrow enough to work. I did get the end links. So these are going to bolt. They want this to bolt to the A-arm, but I got to drill the hole bigger to fit this, which I don't really want to do. And they want this to go up with a traditional sandwich bushing into the sway bar. Well, what I'm going to do is flip it.
He's going to be different.
Of course, he's going to be different.
Is put this through the sway bar because it fits just nice, and then I'm going to get another Heim joint that goes into the sway bar to keep it perfectly parallel up and down, and then I can adjust the height of this to make it exactly what I need, because I only have so much room and travel going down, and I only have so much room travel going up. So I already ordered different joints for the bottom. I still got to make like a little brackety type thing.
In other words, it's going to be another 3 months before it happens.
Well, if I can find steel, I can make it happen quick. But,
like my exhaust.
yeah. But right now, the sway bar is out at the powder coaters. Just dropped it off yesterday. Be about a week till I get that back. But I can start it now and drive it now without a sway bar in it. It's not hurting anything, but I'm waiting. My alignment stuff is coming. Hopefully be here this week.
Ooh, another video.
Another video.
New toys.
So, and almost.
Hopefully I'm still here when that happens. We'll see.
But yeah, this is the carb for it. 600 double pumper. Sorry.
600, I think you'll find that.
So
Double pumper.
and he had a new carburetor gasket kit to go with it. So I'll be putting that in there. It doesn't look very new, but
Got a tray of jets that'll fit that.
but there is the Quick Fuel Slayer 750 carb that was on the 408 that I built about a year ago. So I knew the owner couldn't use it on the car he was building because he put your 4R70W transmission on it. And it needed a bracket on the side for the throttle position for the electronic transmission controller. Well, whatever bracket they had wouldn't fit that carburetor. So he ended up getting an Edelbrock carburetor, and he had that one sitting around. So I know he paid $250 for it. So I know for the 347 that was a good carb for the price, and well, I knew he was trying to sell it again. And he actually shipped it with the fuel line.
Oh, that was nice of it.
So the fuel line's like 30, 40 bucks.
Money right there.
So good for the owner.
That goes to a 69 double humper.
Well, that's a vacuum secondary. But it's still going to be, it's got down leg boosters and 750, so.
I think you missed my humor.
Yeah, I know.
Damn,
I just ignored you.
sometimes that's best. Just ignore me.
So, all right, sorry for the long video, but just
I'm not sorry.
a lot of things to catch you up on. And thanks for sticking around. And catch you guys in another one. Take care. Bye-bye.